Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where the algorithms are gone. Every single piece of content, every tweet, video, post, photo gets exactly the same number of views. No more viral hits, no more obscurity, just perfect equality of attention. Would that be utopia or nightmare? Today, we're running a thought experiment that might just change how you see everything online. What if attention was completely socialized? What if everyone got precisely the same amount of eyes on their content, regardless of what they created? But first, let's talk about the strange economy we already live in, the attention economy. We live in an era of unprecedented content abundance. The average Gen Z person consumes about 10.6 hours of content daily. Millennials aren't far behind at 8.5 hours. That's nearly half our waking lives spent consuming digital content. But here's where it gets interesting. How much content is actually being created? Every minute, over 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube alone. Instagram users post approximately 95 million photos and videos per day. Twitter sees about 500 million tweets daily. When you do the math, his comes out to roughly 2.6 million hours of new content produced globally each day. Let me put that in perspective. We're each producing around 1 second of content per day, but consuming 10 hours. This creates a fundamental imbalance. We have billions of people fighting for attention that simply doesn't exist in sufficient quantities. The supply of attention is fixed. There are only 24 hours in everyone's day, but the supply of content is practically infinite. Cast your mind back to the late 90s, to the dot-com bubble. For a brief moment in history, the internet seemed like it might actually democratize attention. A small bakery in Idaho could suddenly have a website that was, in theory, just as accessible as Coca-Cola's. A teenager coding in their bedroom could create the next Yahoo or Amazon. It felt like a revolution. But what happened? As more people joined, attention became scarce again. And when something becomes scarce, it becomes valuable. And when something becomes valuable in a capitalist system, it gets monetized. The internet didn't democratize attention for long. It just created new gatekeepers. Instead of TV networks and newspaper editors, we got algorithms and SEO experts. So here's our experiment. What if we completely socialized attention? What if everyone on Earth received exactly the same number of impressions for their content? Let's run our hypothetical numbers. If every person on Earth, let's say 10 billion for simplicity, created one 30-second video per month, and everyone watched content for 10 hours daily, how much attention would each video get? The total monthly viewing time available is 10 billion people times 10 hours per day, times 30 days equals 3 trillion hours of viewing time. With 10 billion videos being made each month, each video would receive 36,000 complete views per video. Every single person would get exactly 36,000 views. No more, no less. No viral TikToks with millions of views. No forgotten blog posts with 0 readers. Now here's where I want you to pause and think for a moment. If you were guaranteed exactly 36,000 pairs of eyes on your content each month, how would you use it? Would you post a 1-second striking image that 1 million people would see? Or create a 20-minute deep dive that only 1,000 people would watch in full? Would you use your 30 seconds to advertise a product, share a profound idea, make art, propose marriage, raise awareness for a cause? There's no right answer. But how you'd use your attention budget says a lot about what you value. Here's where our thought experiment gets particularly challenging. Most of our economy is built on unequal distribution of attention. Imagine telling Nike they get the same exposure as a random person posting pictures of their cat. Or telling Taylor Swift her new album gets exactly as many listeners as your neighbor's garage band. Could businesses even function in this environment? With just 36,000 guaranteed views per month and no way to get more, traditional advertising as we know it would collapse overnight. Large corporations built on mass marketing would likely crumble. But what might emerge in their place? Perhaps we'd see the rise of intensely local businesses, focusing on serving communities rather than global markets. Maybe creativity and quality would become even more important when you can't just throw money at getting more views. Or perhaps we'd develop a secondary market where people trade or gift their attention allotments to causes or products they believe in. Now here's a controversial thought. Is advertising, despite how much we claim to hate it, actually good for society? The dominant narrative is that ads are annoying interruptions we'd all be better without. But look deeper and you might see something else. Advertising funds much of the content we consume for free. Those YouTube videos, those news articles, those apps on your phone? Many exist because advertising pays for them. More fundamentally, advertising creates economies of scale that make products cheaper. When Nike can reach millions of people with one ad campaign, they can manufacture shoes at a scale that brings down the cost per unit. In our socialized attention experiment, this advantage disappears. What happens to prices when mass marketing becomes impossible? They likely skyrocket as economies of scale vanish. Innovation might slow too. Without the potential reward of massive attention and the accompanying profits, would companies invest billions in research and development? Is the inequality of attention actually necessary? There's a comforting belief many of us hold. Good content naturally rises to the top. Quality products eventually get discovered. The cream always floats. I call this the trickle-up theory of attention. It suggests that while attention might be unequally distributed, it's at least meritocratically distributed. But is this actually true? Or is it just a convenient story we tell ourselves? Look at what actually gets massive attention online. Is it always the best content, or is it content that's engineered to trigger strong emotions, optimized for algorithm preferences, created by those who already have large followings, backed by significant marketing budgets, designed specifically to capture and retain attention through psychological tricks? The uncomfortable truth might be that attention doesn't naturally flow to quality. It flows to content that's optimized for capturing attention, which isn't the same thing. A groundbreaking scientific discovery might get a fraction of the views of a cat video. A thoughtful analysis might be completely overshadowed by an outrage-inducing hot take. Is the current system really letting the best content trickle up? Or is it rewarding content that's best at playing the attention game? We're standing at the beginning of another revolution that parallels our attention thought experiment. AI and robotics are democratizing production in unprecedented ways. Tools like Grok 3 or Claude 3.7 Sonnet, and soon Optimus robots, automated manufacturing are enabling anyone to produce high-quality content and products. The barrier to creating something good is lower than ever. But here's the paradox. As creation becomes democratized, attention becomes even more valuable. When everyone can make a good product or piece of content, the differentiator isn't quality anymore. It's visibility. It's like the early internet all over again. First came the democratization of access, now comes the democratization of creation. But without democratization of attention, we end up with new forms of inequality. In a world where AI can help anyone create a decent game, app, song, or product, success might depend entirely on who can capture more of the limited attention supply. Here's a troubling scenario. What if someone discovers a cure for cancer, posts about it online, but gets only 15 impressions because they don't know how to market it? You might think this is far-fetched, but consider how many great ideas, products, and solutions might be lost in the void of unviewed content every day. The current system essentially says, it's not enough to create something valuable. You must also be skilled at capturing attention, or have the resources to pay someone who is. Is that really the best way to organize our collective attention? Let's return to our thought experiment of perfectly distributed attention. In this world, everyone gets their 30 seconds of fame every month. Literally 30 seconds of content that will be seen by 36,000 people. What would that world look like? For one, it would be gloriously, hilariously awkward. Imagine billions of people, many with no particular talent for content creation, each forced to fill their 30-second slot. The cringe would be epic, but also strangely authentic. Fame would become mundane, perhaps even losing its appeal. Everyone would be equally unspecial in terms of audience reach. Marketing departments would transform radically. Instead of trying to maximize reach, they'd focus entirely on maximizing impact within their guaranteed 36,000 views. Politics would change too. No candidate could dominate the airwaves or social media. Each would get exactly the same exposure as every other citizen. Information might spread more slowly without viral mechanisms, but perhaps more evenly and thoughtfully. As we consider this thought experiment, several profound questions emerge. Is attention a right or a privilege? Should it be earned through creating valuable content, or is there something fundamentally unfair about how it's currently distributed? Do we need attention inequality for society to function efficiently? Or could we design systems that distribute attention more evenly while still encouraging innovation and quality? Is the meritocracy of attention real? Or is it as mythical as other forms of supposed meritocracy? And perhaps most importantly, how conscious are we of the attention we give and receive? Do we consider attention a resource to be mindfully allocated? Or do we let algorithms and marketing experts make those decisions for us? So I return to the question I asked earlier. What would you do with your guaranteed 30 seconds of attention from 36,000 people? Would you create something profound or entertaining? Would you sell or share? Would you go broad with a simple message or deep with complex ideas for fewer viewers? There's no right answer. But asking the question forces us to consider what we truly value about communication and connection. For me, if I had just 10 seconds guaranteed to reach 100,000 minds, I'd say this. You have exactly one life. Don't spend it chasing algorithms. Create something that matters to you. Today.